We are live. I got a lot of really good information to go over today, guys. We're going to take a look at the last few days in the crypto space. Lots going on with stablecoin regulation. We did see 16 Democrats cross the aisle to work with Republicans to push forward the Genius Act. We're going to talk all about that. Of course, I got XRP. We got an update on Ripple trying to buy Circle. It looks like they've offer came up to $9 to $11 billion. Man, we're going to talk about all of this stuff and more. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's go ahead and check in, see how everyone's doing. AK Scarface in the chat. What's up, Ariana? Great to see you. Looks like Andy's here also. Alexis, good to see you. Byram, nice to see you as well. And we'll get it cracking here. What's up, Carrie King? How are you doing? William, what's up, William? Richard, great to see you, Richard. Hey, Brett. What's up? What's up? People starting to come in now. Chris, good to see you. Henry, Constantine, that's a great name. Aloha. MF, Shane, what's up? Melvin, yo. We got people from the UK checking in. That's awesome. Great to see you guys. Remember, what's up, Joseph? Great to see you too, man. Remember, if you guys, if you want to support the channel, you can like the chat. You can share the chat with friends and family or any of your other socials. I'd really appreciate all the support. We are going to get into a ton of news right now, as well as I'm going to answer as many questions that I possibly can from you guys. Just want to take a look here at the overall crypto market. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. Let's pull this up, share this instead. All right. Looks like, market is up a little bit on Bitcoin here. 2% on Bitcoin, 106,000. Wow. Look at this, hitting over 107,000 for Bitcoin. This sure puts a smile on a lot of people's faces. Great to see that Bitcoin is getting up there. Be interesting to see how high this actually goes. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Do you think Bitcoin's heading to 150,000, 200,000, 250,000? I've seen so many, guesstimates or people guessing or estimates what they think Bitcoin will get to. Good to see XRP here sitting at 234, down about 8.66%. Obviously, you probably had some cooling off from the November 19th date with the CME futures going live. We understand on this channel, we don't fall in love with dates. They do come and go, and often we are found, it's more of like a sell the news event, I think. So the market is, adjusting. Cardano's down about 10% here. Interesting information. Do you see the new kind of rumors about Charles Hodgkinson? We got to cover that too, even though I really don't want to cover that, but we're going to talk about that. Sui's down about 4% here. This is actually pretty juicy. Like, people always ask me, should I be buying Solana right now or buying Sui right now? I think if you were to buy Solana, you should have bought Solana probably, $15, $20. Obviously, if you're looking at the next 5 to 10 years, Solana will probably be a lot more expensive than it is now. But I think Sui is probably the better buy here. AVAX is at $22. There's some value here. Ton ecosystem at $3.06. All right, let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of this information here. We got so much stuff to go over. Let's start here. We got Paul Atkins. This is like a really long clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but there's been clips circulating on Twitter. Paul Atkins basically he's talking like a SEC commissioner should. How he thinks, he says it's his responsibility to help markets progress and grow in the United States, digital assets and whatnot. Let me just play a little bit of what this is like, and we'll move on.
It is a new day at the SEC. I'm determined that we return to our core mission that Congress set for us more than 90 years ago. The SEC's three-part mission, as the chairman stated earlier, was enunciated by Congress in the Exchange Act, and that's investor protection, which is vital to our mission, holding accountable those who lie, cheat, and steal. Capital formation is also at the root of what we do.
All right, I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I just want you to know this is here if you want to come watch it. I mean, I put some of this stuff in my longer form videos. So if you want updates on like what's going on with Paul Atkins, take a look at that. But here is kind of the talk of yesterday. So yesterday, the Genius Act was pushed through. It still needs to be voted on by the entire Senate, but it did pass, a key vote that if it didn't get passed, it would probably, it might have died on the vine, and that could have sent regulation back months or maybe years even. So this is a really good time. Let me play a little bit about what's being talked about here on Fox because of this.
Senator Bill Hagerty joins us now. He's a Republican from the state of Tennessee. Senator, what did you get out of Trump going to Capitol Hill this morning? I know he was talking to House Republicans.
Oh, hold on here, Lewis.
A lot of the projection shortfall increase from President Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. What happened?
Sorry, the beginning, they're talking about tax cuts and stuff like that, but this is where I want to get the Genius Act.
Or I should say cost savings coming from the Doge efforts and a lot of effort that's going on here. And the Senate is looking forward to getting
here you go.
Getting our teams on this and looking for even more significant cuts than the House has delivered so far.
All right, Senator, lawmakers just advanced the Genius Act, which would legitimize the stable coin. Senator, next up, I believe, is your legislation, which is a full regulatory overhaul of crypto. You think we're going to get to... My contact in D.C. says she thinks you might get to that vote on the full bill in the first week of June. Is that possible?
Listen to this. This is actually pretty zesty. They think they might not have to wait to June to vote on this. They could be voted on next week. Listen.
I think it could be even sooner than that. I think we have broad agreement from a policy standpoint between Democrats and Republicans. We had a good evening last night, and I think there are actually a number of other folks that aren't on the bill just yet that will become supportive of it. So I feel very good about where we're going. The momentum is very positive right now. All the feedback I've had since last night has been extremely positive. So we're going to be working at pace this week, Stuart. We might even get it done this week. That would be great if we could.
Can I ask?
I just don't want them to rush. You know what I mean? Like, this is such an important piece of legislation for America's crypto future. I want them to be absolutely sure they have the votes. So it does look like we're progressing that way. Really great to see that starting to happen. Man, look, I go over 2 pieces of news. Now we have 600 something people here hanging out. Great to see you, Sabrina. How are you doing? MF in the house. We got Christus King. How's everybody doing? Brett's here. Oh, man. LAX is here. Oh, now it's a party. Love to see LAX. All right, let's keep it going here. Remember to like and share if you can. I thought this was interesting. This is actually, I don't know. This guy has a YouTube channel. I can't remember this guy's name. I do apologize. He's got a very popular YouTube channel, and they're interviewing a series of people. And this person is particular answering questions about Bitcoin's actual value, right? And like he invests in stocks and other companies, and he's actually building this out pretty nice. I thought this was a really cool clip. Let me play this.
What about Bitcoin? What are your thoughts?
I wrestle with Bitcoin. I totally love the idea of it and hate the idea of it. I hate that it doesn't have fundamentals. And also I understand the value of it not having fundamentals. Like when I buy Nike stock, I know that Nike is making shoes that people wear, and it makes me feel reassured that there's a fundamental reason why this company makes this amount of shoes and this amount of profit and this amount, so there feels like a very good reason to own that asset. Bitcoin is more buyers than sellers. Like, it has its value because it's a brand, and I understand that in this new digital economy, being a brand has a value. Being an accepted brand does actually have a value, but as a student of history, there are times in the past where things seemed like such a really good idea until they weren't. Like, there have been crashes, things that were once considered, like, so for example, the East India Company went down, this Dutch tulip mania, and it's one of these things where it totally makes sense until suddenly the consensus on it flips, and then when that consensus flips, if there's nothing holding it up, so I hold Bitcoin and I have Bitcoin, but it's still something I'm not. If I'm perfectly honest, I still get spidey senses about it, just because of what's the fundamental.
What about Bitcoin?
Interesting. What's the fundamental? Interesting. Okay, but this is obviously people can be skeptics about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to be and will be successful as long as something crazy doesn't happen, right? As long as like the NSA doesn't come out and say like, "Hey, we were behind Bitcoin," because I think that would be a trip, man. Oh, that would be a trip. Anyways, take a look at this. 37 million Americans own gold, but 50 million Americans own Bitcoin. That's a crazy freaking number. Also, the United States is the global Bitcoin superpower. This is what this is saying here. Estimated ownership of total supply, 40%. Ownership share, public firms, 94. Development funding, yada, yada, yada. Talks about ETF ownership, shares of global hash rate. The U.S. is really, trying to make some moves here to become the, Bitcoin capital of the world. And I think states and the federal government will be successful if they want to be. Biggest bull run ever incoming. Obviously, we've seen a bunch of these charts and a bunch of these setups. We've been talking about this for God knows how long. Bitcoin accumulation trends signal bullishness with small holders holding minus less than 1 Bitcoin, accelerating accumulation, and whales that have, I guess, 100,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin are aggressively buying. It's really nice to have, 10,000 Bitcoin and you're aggressively buying Bitcoin, man. That those people are going to be really, really, really rich. All right. Did you guys see this drama? Like, I could not believe what I was seeing yesterday. I was, trying to put all this content together. And did you see the Senator Loomis situation that she's refusing to meet with Brad Garlinghouse? Like, I couldn't. I get it. I get it. Right? She's always been just Bitcoin only. But now that new facts are coming to light, where it's like her son-in-law has been in Bitcoin for quite some time, they've been trash talking Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple. It's making me feel a little uneasy, to be quite frank with you. But here, the attacks of people online right now against Ripple and XRP have escalated once again. Now, this could be coming from a few different places, okay? This could be coming from people who own Bitcoin and only Bitcoin and want Bitcoin is the only thing that they want to do good. Obviously, they're going to say and do anything so they can have a favorable outcome, right? Because most of these people have invested a lot of their net worth into Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is not successful, then their net worth will not be successful. And maybe their generation will not be successful. But you actually have just a full-fledged attack. I think because you're starting to see Ripple starting to acquire, like Hidden Road, and now Ripple's maybe trying to buy Circle. And I think people understand that Bitcoin might not be the number one crypto indefinitely, right? It is and has been the biggest asset class in the crypto space, but it doesn't mean in 5 years or 10 years that that's going to stay true. Now, whatever you guys want to do here, I don't really love this comment at all. I don't think that has anything to do with it. But let me go ahead and pull this up, right? Because this is a freaking mess. If you haven't seen this, let me show you what Brad Garlinghouse put out just the other day here. Let me scroll down. Okay, we got to start. Oh, here, let me go to his thing, Brad Garlinghouse. And I'll come check in with the chat here in just a second because I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Okay, so here you go. All right, here is the tweet that has been making its rounds on Twitter, and people are getting fired up. We are getting fired up about this. All right, let's pull this down here so you can see it a little bit better. All right, here we go. Brad Garlinghouse says, heading to DC to champion sensible crypto legislation around stablecoins and market structure. I am very encouraged to see our elected officials look at crypto and should be a multi-chain industry. That said, Senator Loomis, right? So it's this woman here. If you're not familiar with what she looks like, let me give you a nice zoomed in look of her face. She's a senator from Wyoming. Okay. Wyoming is one of the most crypto friendly states in America. So this says Senator Loomis, she is the chair of the digital assets subcommittee, which means she is the person who is like in charge of it, right? Like if you've ever been, in a classroom or a school or a daycare, whatever it is, right? It's like the teacher, the main person is in control. This is who it's her job to basically run these committees, set up meetings, meet with industry leaders, help set policy, push rules forward. All of that stuff is her job. And so she canceled a meeting with Brad Garlinghouse and is refusing to reschedule the meeting. As a leader in Congress and the senator from one of the most crypto-friendly states, which is Wyoming, I hope you will reconsider and be a leader for all of crypto. I invite you to join me on X Spaces anytime. This is Brad saying this, of course, or a live convo on stage at any of the main events that we cross our paths on since Senator Loomis became in January when the Trump administration took office, they are in the House and the Senate, so they basically could set, they're in control of who is in control of the committees. Republicans are. They put Senator Loomis in control of the Digital Ad Subcommittee in January. That's where she's been the last few months, and this is becoming, it looks like an issue here. So, when I first saw this, I was like, maybe this is just a misunderstanding. And then I started to see more posts about Senator Loomis and her son-in-law, and so I was like, oh shit, here we go. Okay, so if you search, of course she's not going to have. Let me just search Senator Loomis on Twitter here. You're going to be able to see all these tweets here. So like people are putting all of this together here. Credit to Cowboy Crypto for uncovering this. Senator Loomis, who refuses to meet with Brad Garlinghouse. Her son-in-law, the son-in-law's name is Will Cole. And he's basically gone after Ripple like really, really horribly here, calling Ripple frauds, and saying all kinds of stuff. And so here's some of the tweets. I really don't want to read all of the tweets here, but this is Senator Loomis's son-in-law. And so everyone is now drumming up stuff about Senator Loomis. So here is something that was also being shared in 2021. Senator Loomis broke the law by failing to disclose a 6-figure Bitcoin buy. All of this stuff, obviously, I can't tell you how many people on both sides of the aisle use inside information to get wealthy. And really, these people aren't held too accountable. But people are starting to just slam all kinds of information out right now, and I don't know, man. This doesn't feel very good. This doesn't feel very good, and I don't know what they're going to do. I hope that she reconsiders and this all calms down. But it's kind of drama. It is kind of drama. What do you guys think here? Love conspiracies. Oh man, I don't love conspiracies. I feel like I'm wrapped up in them every single day. Sucks to see XRP suppressed. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Loomis needs to man up and face the fact that XRP will supersede Bitcoin. I mean, you can look at this two ways, right? So like, I guess maybe there's more than two ways to look at it, but realistically to us, there's two ways. One of them is she is there to push forward, crypto regulation, and maybe she has some type of personal issues with either Brad Garlinghouse or Ripple. On the other hand, it could be that, maybe there's not anything in it for her. I don't know. I don't know enough about her and her record and all of that stuff, but this is, what either two camps people are jumping into. And so, I don't know. It's going to be drama. I hope it all works out though, because, we really do need to get other voices at the table other than Bitcoin maximalists. Obviously, I think this should, they should be talking with Coinbase. They should be talking with Ripple and Circle and Kraken and every other institution in the United States that's been fighting for crypto regulation. I mean, like personally, hasn't Ripple and Brad and all of these people been put through enough? I mean, seriously, haven't we been put through enough the last 4.5 years? Okay. Well, let's keep it going here. So we got 1,000 people hanging out here, guys. If you like the chat, please like and share. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep sharing information, and we'll have a little bit of fun doing it. I'm going to go through a bunch more information, and then I'll start answering your questions one by one. Okay, so make sure to be kind to Ariana in the chat and any other mod that is trying to keep the chat safe. I do appreciate you. I don't really need to get into that. I don't want to waste your time here. You do have more and more people comparing Bill Haggerty's clip on Fox News talking about this like new payment system, new payment rails. It is really interesting to see all this play out because we have called this actually very perfectly on live streams and in chats. If you remember, over the past few months, we've been talking about the bond market not doing too well, and countries are dumping U.S. debt. We need a new buyer of U.S. debt, and that is going to be stablecoin issuers. It's actually playing out really nicely. Let me play a little bit of this.
Do you envisage the day when I can go to my broker and say, right, buy me X number of stablecoin and keep it in my account?
Absolutely. You'll be able to do that almost instantaneously. And again, the payment system is there. We just need to give a legal framework for it to thrive here in America. Otherwise, we'll see what's been happening. It's going to keep moving offshore. This is a better way for us to protect consumers, and it's certainly a better way for us to make certain that America remains the hotbed of competition and innovation in this space.
It seems to me that would be this is a big win for the crypto business, but I'm surprised to see Bitcoin and Ethereum actually losing a little ground today. But Santa, no, go ahead, sir.
No, I was going to say, if you think about it, this is great for dollar dominance as well. That we've seen a slight erosion, but this is going to make certain that the dollar is the currency of choice around the world, because that's where all the digital trading is going to go. And again, enhancing the demand for treasuries helps us, particularly at a time when we're trying to work this deficit down.
I think I got it. Santa Haggerty, thanks so much for joining.
All right. They basically told us what the plan is, right? So let's just see how well they will lay this out. I did want to take a look here. So this is what I am paying attention to. And I think a lot of people are focused on this as well. If you live in the U.S. or if you live in another country and these markets are fluctuating, you might not buy a home, you might not refinance a car, you might not do a whole bunch of stuff that keeps the economy going. And so these rates is what I'm sure the Trump administration is watching very closely. This is kind of why I think they try to make a deal here on tariffs and stuff like that. So keep in mind, you don't want this 10-year. This is what you're paying attention to. This 10-year, you don't want this going over 5%. That is that is a very scary area. Just the number scary. And then of course, 30 years and 10-year. This is what your mortgages, your car loans, your credit cards, all of this stuff is based off of. So if you're getting a new loan, the odds of a recession are going down. This is trending the right way, which is really cool. As you can see, it's 22 points downwards. This was actually as high as 60-something%. Now it's down to 38%. That's awesome to hear. Japan's bond market is imploding. Japan's 30-year government yield has officially surged to its highest level in history at 3.15%. For decades, Japan was known for long-term interest rates. Now they're dealing with high inflation, shifting policy outlook, and a whopping 260% debt to GDP ratio, which is really high. It says on the top of this, Japan still holds about $1.1 trillion worth of U.S. debts. Remember, this is what we've been watching. Japan is the largest holder of U.S. debt treasuries. China is the second. UK is the third. And so I wanted to better understand, what does this all mean for Japan? I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I want to better understand this. So, the impact of these levels on Japan's bond market is as follows. Japan's bond market is undergoing historic upheaval. A 30-year government-backed bond yield has surged to a record 3.15%, a level unseen in modern history. Key drivers of this crisis: failed bond auctions and soaring yields. Recent auctions for a 20, 30, and 40-year government bonds have seen the weakest demand in over a decade, with yields spiking across all maturities. The 40-year yield, for example, to hit 3.6% all-time high. This reflects a growing buyer strike or investors lose confidence in the sustainability of Japan's debt. This is also what could happen here in the United States, right? The reason, people in the U.S. have so much freedom and the dollar goes so far and you can use the dollar anywhere is because the people all over the world trust the U.S. to pay its debt. And, this is kind of what's playing out in Japan could play out in other countries. So it is important to keep notice and pay attention to this. Bank of Japan policy shift. The Bank of Japan, after years of dominating the bond market, is keeping yields artificially low and is now scaling back its purchases, quantitative tightening. So where the U.S. was just doing QT for the last few years, and now that's kind of letting up a bit, Japan's going into QT. This withdrawal was exposed to the true market aversion on holding Japanese government bonds and low yields, especially given inflation, fiscal risks. Also talks about rising inflation and debt and economic weakness. This could, affect Japan's buying power on the global market. I will keep you updated when I have more information. Risky debt issuance has stalled in the U.S. Low-rated U.S. corporations have issued less than $1 billion in bonds in April, the lowest in 4 years. So this is also showing you that there's not a lot of interest right now for new people interested in investing in government debt, treasury bills. People are investing in Bitcoin and gold and other speculative assets right now. And the institutions and hedge funds are kind of sitting and waiting to see how all this plays out. At the same time, leveraged loans issuances have reached 13 billion. High yield corporate bonds and leveraged loans issuances have reached are 10 times lower than during the same period last year. Leveraged loans are typically used to finance M&A, refinance debt, or general business activity, all of which are slowing down. So maybe this is something that we should be taking notice as a global economy does start to slow down in the US, especially. Institutional investors remain bearish of US stocks. So the current push in US stocks over the last few weeks has really been pushed by retail, while institutions are kind of waiting to see what happens here. A net 38% of institutional investors were underweight in U.S. equities in early May, the lowest since May 2023, according to Bank of America. Outside of 2023, this marks the lowest level allocation since the led up to the 2008 financial crisis. Over the last 5 months, this percentage has fallen by 70 points to the biggest drop on record. The difference between the proportion of investors being overweight Eurozone versus U.S. equities hit a net 75%, the highest since October 2017. By comparison, 4 months ago, the net percentage was about 62 points, the lowest since 2012. The sentiment shift among professional investors has been historic. There's also some information about retail investors. Individual investors bought a net 4.1 billion in U.S. stocks on Monday between 9:30 and 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. This surpassed previous highs by over 1 billion, according to JP Morgan data. Retail investors also broke the 4 billion buying threshold, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Additionally, retail accounted for 36% of trading volume yesterday. So you can see this is really driven by retail investors here. Stocks are rising like the trade war is over. Gold is rising like the trade war is escalating. Yields are rising like the U.S. has avoided a recession. Oil prices are falling like the U.S. is entering a recession. The U.S. dollar index is falling like inflation is gone. Bitcoin is rising like inflation is back on the rise. Never a dull moment in this market. There's so many things to keep track of here. It does look like China and the U.S. are figuring out how far they can push each other here. China vows to take measures if the U.S. insists on going their own way. China has issued a statement on the U.S. adjusting chip export controls. Remember, the reason China really wants Taiwan is because of these very hard to manufacture computer chips that go into pretty much every single thing that you can imagine: cars, fridges, any type of military equipment. And they're trying to build out in the U.S. The CHIPS Act is to try to build out our own kind of manufacturing here. That's been happening the last few years. You also had this too. White House economic advisor Hassett says U.S. debt is the safest bet on earth. Hassett describes Moody's decision to downgrade the U.S. credit rating on Friday as backward looking. This is already priced in, guys. If you're not familiar with what happened here, let me just give you a brief understanding of this. May 16th, Moody's rating downgraded the U.S. government's credit rating from the highest level AAA to AA1, citing persistent growing federal deficits, so rising debts, increasing interest costs to pay those debts or service those debts are the key driving decisions on here. I mean, I think this was expected. This won't affect your everyday life too much, but obviously we don't want to keep getting downgraded throughout. There is some updates on some brands and tariffs. Just to go through this really quickly, I don't want to spend too much time on this today. Walmart said that it would have to pass on some of the costs of tariffs to customers. Target is expected to announce something this week. You had Home Depot. Home Depot actually said that they are going to do everything that they can to not pass costs on to, I thought I had something from Home Depot. Yeah, here, check this out.
The big question that everybody's wondering about after what we heard from Walmart last week, we'll be hearing from Target this week. He said tariffs, when it comes to tariffs, it's pretty important to give context that for Home Depot, more than 50% of our purchases are sourced in the United States. He says the vast number of suppliers have diversified sourcing, And he said this: 12 months from now, no single country outside of the United States will represent more than 10% of Home Depot's purchases. He says because of our scale, great partnerships with our partners and our suppliers, and productivity, we continue to drive our business. He said we intend to generally maintain our current pricing levels across our portfolio, and that's pretty different than what you've heard from most of the rest of these big companies, these big retailers.
All right, we don't need to hear all the extra jazz there. We understand that they are going to do everything they can to not raise prices. You also have some other big retailers. If you're not from the US, just to kind of give you some perspective here, Walmart is a place that a lot of people go to shop to save money, right? They carry, I don't know if you've ever been like a Costco, or imagine a grocery store mixed up with, a store that you go to buy toys or furniture or whatever, right? They have these superstores and they have just products from all over the place. But a lot of the products are from China, and that's where the additional costs could come in for some of these manufacturers and these retailers. But there's also like Shein and Temu. These are both China-based retailers. They obviously have to pass some of this on to customers. You have companies like Lubbock, the footwear brand, raised prices about 10%. Adidas, the German sportswear giant, has stated increased tariffs are inevitably led to higher prices for American consumers. Rolex, damn, if you wanted a Rolex watch, it's going to be 3% more expensive, which is not too bad. Hermes, the French luxury company, is implementing US-only price increases to offset new tariffs. And there's, of course, a ton of other companies that are also making adjustments. There are car companies like Ford and GM who are raising prices on some models as well. So we haven't got any new information about any new deals. So I'll just leave that where it is. If you have any questions, I'm sure you will ask me in the chat and I will do my best to answer them. I didn't want to spend too much time on tariffs today. Just wanted to give you a update of key things that are happening. I wanted to... I don't want to touch that. Never mind. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. All right, here. This is what I want to talk about. So let me play this clip. I need to go turn on my AC real quick. Just kick it down. This is a 55-second clip. I will be back before this clip stops. And then I want to get into Coinbase, Ripple, and Circle. What's happening there? I got a complete update for you. Give me 1 second.
Certainly, it puts our financial system and our payment system more specifically into the modern times. What we rely upon today was designed in the 70s and 80s. This is a chance to completely modernize our payment system to make sure that the innovation that's happening around the entire industry stays here in America. And importantly, Stuart, because the stablecoin is dollar denominated, that will perpetuate the dollar's position, dollar's dominance as the reserve currency of the world. And it will also increase demand for treasury bills here in America, which is a good thing as well.
Can you explain that? I need to explain that. Why would it increase demand for treasury securities, treasury bills and bonds?
Because the stablecoin legislation requires that each dollar stablecoin be backed fully by either a dollar in cash or short-term treasuries. To do that, the stablecoin issuer has to go and purchase short-term treasuries. Already, stablecoin issuers are large owners of treasuries, and by 2030, Citi projects that stablecoin issuers will be the largest owner of U.S. treasuries in the world.
Okay. That last part there is really important. Let me just go back here 6 seconds. Check this out.
Issuers are large owners of treasuries, and by 2030, Citi projects that stablecoin issuers will be the largest owner of U.S. treasuries in the world.
Okay, by 2030, it is projected, Citi is projecting that stablecoin issuers will be the largest holders of U.S. treasuries in the world, which is also, what does that mean? It means that stablecoin issuers would be the largest holders of U.S. debt in the world. The plan is to basically have realistically, you're talking about stablecoin issuers financing U.S. debt going forward, which is really an interesting. I think it's kind of perfect. You need this new buyer of U.S. debt, and right now you just don't have one. And so, what better to create this stablecoin regulation and to start pumping money into this? So, I wanted to go ahead and talk about this. All right, because we're on the topic of stablecoins. I want to get into this. Let me do this. Let me go answer some of your questions before we do that. We have 1,300 people here. I'm sure there are some questions about whatever else. I will answer maybe like 10 minutes of questions, and then we'll jump back into the Coinbase stuff. Unless you really want me to jump into the Coinbase Ripple stuff, and I will just go do that right now. Just let me know. I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't had anybody tell me that they've had a bad experience on Munisi yet. So, this I've done 2 videos on them over the last few months, and the few people I've spoken to have made some money. So I'm really hoping that everything goes well. Just you want to be careful on any kind of newer platforms like that. Always kind of test the waters and understand, like, if they're not regulated by the United States just yet, you just want to better understand kind of who's behind it and all that stuff. So I appreciate you using my link and supporting my channel. I really, really appreciate you. Give me the info. Eric's like, fuck it. I don't want you to answer any questions. I want the info. Let's do it, Eric. I hear you, man. All right. So here it is. Ripple reportedly proposed 11 billion in cash in XRP to outbid Coinbase over Circle acquisition. Now, when I first saw this, I didn't think I was like, this can't be real. Like, this can't be true, right? Ripple, why would they go from 4 or 5 billion to 11 billion that quickly? And I didn't think this was real until I saw the source. The source is Paul Barron. Now, I don't consider Paul Barron as somebody that posts things for clicks or posts things that are inaccurate. I think this is probably real. And so let's go ahead and better understand like what's going on here. Let me pull up. I did a video earlier where I have all of the details for the Coinbase and what's happening, all the positions. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. I got it. Let me pull it up. Let me move it over here. All right, so let's better understand what's going on here. So if you're not familiar with what's happening, let's give you some background here, okay? I'm going to go through it all. You're going to have to deal with it. Circle, the issuer of USDC stablecoin, has been preparing for an initial IPO with a targeted valuation of about $5 billion. So Circle is IPOing. Their valuation of their company is about $5 billion. That is why Ripple offered about $5 billion for the company. However, recent reports indicate that Circle has also held informal talks with both Ripple and Coinbase. So Circle is kind of, trying to work their magic. They are trying to get both companies to keep bidding up each other. And they're talking about a potential sale, raising the possibility of a major shakeup in the stablecoin sector. Let's talk about Ripple's strategy, and then we'll talk about Coinbase's position. So Ripple reportedly made an offer to acquire 4 to 5 billion in late April. We covered that on the channel extensively. Motivation is Ripple's interest is strategic to make its own stablecoin. RLUSD it's a much smaller than USDC. USDC has $61 billion. If you want to know where that value is, let me just show you where you could check that stuff. DeFi Llama. You go to DeFi Llama, you pull this up, you go down here to, where are you? Stablecoin, stables right there. You want to go overview. And this is actually going to show you where all the stablecoin value is actually on all the chains. So here, as this pulls up, what you want to do here is here are all the chains that you can see this value on. So here's USDC. As you can see, USDC is on 104 chains. They're all right here on your screen. This is where that if Ripple or Coinbase were to acquire Circle tomorrow, they would gain all of this liquidity on all of these different layer ones, layer twos, whatever they are, which would be really an incredible feat to do that overnight. You know what I mean? Like, you would be one of the most dominant players in the stablecoin game in the world if you made this. And this is why Ripple is really working towards to do this. So let's go back here to better understand, now that we know what's at stake, the financial position. So the financial position between Ripple and Coinbase is Ripple has bigger, they have a lot more to spend than Coinbase does. So Ripple has basically about $10 billion, $11 billion. Excuse me, Ripple has, where is it? They have about, I thought it was like 10 or 11 billion dollars sitting in like an account. And then they have the $80 billion. I'll have to find it as I read through it. But here you go. Ripple could finance the deal using a mix of cash and large reserves. XRP, of course, over $100 billion worth in escrow. That's the 37 billion XRP Ripple has in escrow. However, converting large amounts of XRP could impact the price. So if Ripple had to sell XRP for the part of the deal that could negatively impact the price. And I don't know how, the XRP community would feel about that. So what Ripple could do is they could offer XRP as part of the deal and say, hey, you cannot sell this XRP, for a year or 2 years or whatever it is. And maybe they put in like, you can only sell 5% a month or something like that. So, you don't have a total collapse of the XRP trade on the open market. Rumors of higher bids. There is unconfirmed social media rumors. Ripple is considering a much higher bid of $11 billion. I think Ripple, this bid really kind of shows us something. It shows us how serious they are, right? If Circle's value, their IPO value is $5 billion and Ripple is willing to offer almost, over double, Ripple understands that this could be worth way more than that down the line, right? As the US is entering stablecoin regulations. So really interesting to see all this play out. But here's Coinbase's position, because this is some information that I actually, I wanted to better understand. And I'm glad I did all this. So I kind of juiced all this up. So check this out. Coinbase's position, existing ties. So Coinbase and Circle co-founded the Center of Consortium in 2018 to govern USDC. While the consortium was dissolved in 2023, Coinbase retains a minority stake in Circle and a lucrative revenue sharing agreement in USDC reserve. So, I wasn't in the room, but obviously stable coins, 7-8 years ago, this was a very new and smaller market, and Circle, to survive, they needed Coinbase. And so they did whatever they had to do to survive, which is basically giving Coinbase this really lucrative deal that Coinbase is still cashing into, even though this was dissolved back in 2023. So contractual advantages, Coinbase's agreement with Circle, given its significant influence, including veto rights over the new partnership and partial control over Circle's IP in case of insolvency. This makes Coinbase a logical acquirer in the eyes of many insiders. They also have financial capacity. Coinbase has about $8 billion in cash and crypto investments, which actually is not that much, right? If Circle is $11 billion and Coinbase only has $8 billion in cash and additional crypto investment or equivalents, they are not liquid enough to do this. Now, obviously, Coinbase could go in and get a loan. They could work with other, other partners in the space to do this together. But right now, this is kind of iffy. The really interesting part about this, when I was doing this video earlier, and as I was, going through this and talking about this, ideas were just kind of popping up in my head. But let me ask you this question, okay? I want you to put yourself in the seat of somebody who's like a manager at BlackRock or a decision maker at BlackRock or one of these really big institutions like Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo or something like that. Okay, if you understand that you're looking at maybe Coinbase now, I think they're like the 21st or the 20th largest bank in the US. If you look at their assets under management, right? Banks, these bigger banks understand, and financial institutions understand how important this new plumbing is going to be to move value around the world. And so I'm shocked that we haven't seen an offer from like a BlackRock or somebody like that, because, as you're seeing regulations starting to mature in America, it's crazy to me why some of these institutions wouldn't come in to try to buy some of this infrastructure, why they still can't. Because remember, if you're an institution like BlackRock, one of these, if you don't create the infrastructure yourself, you have to go out and buy the infrastructure. And Circle has incredible amounts of infrastructure already put in place. I mean, to get stables to get value on 104 chains in a day, it would be truly an incredible feat for any financial institution. So interesting to see how this will play out too. But acquisitions readiness, sources suggest that Coinbase were to make a serious offer, Circle would accept it quickly. So this also tells me that, okay, the reason Ripple started making offers for Circle is because when Circle is trying to IPO, they had to release a bunch of their financial data that Ripple looked at was like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity here to buy or acquire Circle. Coinbase, being Circle's partner for all these years, they would have probably had a lot of this information already, right? Because they are still making money off of this consortium partnership, and they're still cashing in, and so in my eyes, wouldn't have Coinbase, if they really wanted Circle, wouldn't they have made an offer for Circle already? I just, that is what's getting to me. I would think they would have done it already. They would have gone in and tried to buy them if they were serious about buying them. So Coinbase can't afford it. Oh, see, look at this. Well, let's see. Coinbase can't afford it and will need to leverage hard to make the deal possible. I have no inkling or thought that Coinbase wants Circle. They will get XRP as well. That's a huge investment payout. Well said, my friend. Well said. Mexica says, hello from Atlanta. What's up? I always look forward to your content. Good morning. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. I love that. Love that. I got some more stuff. Lizard King, great to see you, man. Fleer proved Coinbase is not to be trusted. Yeah. Is you talking about the airdrop and stuff when they said that they were going to honor it and then they basically didn't honor it? Is that what you're talking about? I think that's what you're talking about. Let's see here. It says Jay Galistrio says BlackRock will make their ETF after the Genius passes. Well, so you're saying BlackRock will make an XRP ETF, spot ETF, after the those two things really don't have to do with one another. Just in my personal feeling, I think BlackRock wants to see their customer base ask for the product. If you listen to Larry Fink and the way that he changed his outlook on Bitcoin over the years, it really took customers asking for the product. So I think it's that way, but you definitely could be absolutely correct too. Let's see here. Coinbase had a massive data breach. Yeah, I know, man. I know. And maybe that's what they're dealing with. It's just crazy that Paul Barron would post this. I mean, I even went to Paul Barron's Twitter account to verify, is this real, dude? I pulled this up. I was like clicking on Paul Barron's Twitter account to see if anyone hacked his Twitter account or something. I was really searching to make sure that, hey, he posted this and it says Ripple and Coinbase are now in a bidding war for Circle. I think at the end of the day, Coinbase, Ripple, even though they're kind of doing separate things, they are still, they're still the giants in their industry competing against one another. And if Coinbase can make Ripple pay an extra $5 billion for Circle, at the end of the day, is that strategy? Is that smarts? Is that, I don't know, is that business acumen? You gotta tell me what that is. You got to tell me. Hawaii Rider, great to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Let's see here. Coinbase versus Ripple is fake. They're running a play. Coinbase owns tons of XRP coins. Circle just wants to look good for regulators and politicians. That could be very well true, man. Well said. You might be right. Coinbase is trying to monopolize retail crypto custody. Yeah. No, they absolutely are. I mean, wouldn't you? If you were in the position Coinbase is in, wouldn't you try to make a play for it all? I mean, how could you not? I mean, you got to look at Ripple's thought process and everything that they've ever done, right? They've always said that we're here to make a dent in the universe. We're here to, we're not here to gain a small market share. We're here to, get it all, do it all. And so I think they take that same mindset when they're out here trying to make all this happen. So what do you think? So who do you think will get it? I don't think if anybody gets it, it would probably be Ripple. I don't think if you're listening to the information that we just went through and everybody else's feedback, it doesn't sound like Coinbase actually has the money to do this themselves. So it's either Ripple or it's or maybe another player is going to come out of the woodworks. I mean, just think about it. If you worked at one of these big financial institutions and you really didn't have your crypto rails built out yet, Circle is everything's built. It's a trusted name. You know, it's the second largest stablecoin in the world. This news came from Bloomberg, Sensei. The news came from Bloomberg. Which one, Mark? Are we talking about the same thing? Bitcoin just broke 107K. Let's take a look at that. Hey. Oh. It's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy. Oh, you know what I wanted to take a look at? Hold on. Give me a second. I'm searching something. 318. Hold on. 318. Hold on. I'm trying to find something. KTA. Dude, this went freaking crazy, bro. Who remembers me? You know, it was Kaylin who brought this up in Cryptonaires like a long time ago. I'm trying to find out. Hold on. 318. January, February, March 18th. Hold on. 3 months. 6 months. All right. March 18th is right here. All right. We can go through a high point here. Look at this. Nice little 530% move in the last few months on KTA. Nice call. Nice call. Damn, look at these buys. 15 grand, 7,000, 5,000. Oh, shit. Sorry. I get distracted in my own mind. This was called in Cryptonaires by Kaylin. And I just wanted to give him a shout out since he's been putting in some really good work. This was brought up here. Let me just show you this really quickly. Caitlin brought it up to me, and then I brought it up to members of Cryptonaires. Check us out. So here is KTA. It's interesting. All right. Let's see what other questions you guys have here. Meta makes no sense. Meta's not buying it, dude. Like Meta, no. I don't know if you saw the video I made on Meta, but I don't know, man. I don't think so. Meta, I think XRP would go to die if Meta bought them, like Ripple and XRP. Michael, I did see that about Munacy. I hope it pays off too, man. I hope it pays off too. Let's see here. B-Fire says, aloha, bro. How is XRP and the rest of the market not higher than Bitcoin at 107K? I mean, really, it's Bitcoin dominance, right? You're still having a large part of the market is people buying Bitcoin. You know, this is what people are interested in right now is the Bitcoin play. So this usually happens every bull market, right? Let's see here. Oh, let me pull this up. Actually, it should be right there, right? No, hold on. So Bitcoin dominance currently sitting at 61%. You need this to go down to like 25, man, for altcoin season to really start kicking off. It needs to get really low. You the people says I had over $30,000 in crypto, mostly in XRP, and now it's gone. And Coinbase won't respond back to me. XRP, XLM, Quant, HBAR, all my crypto just disappeared a few days back. So have you reached out to Coinbase on, I mean, I'm sure you have. I know when I have had issues in the past getting a hold of Coinbase, they have a phone number that you can call to escalate things. You want me to see if I can find that phone number, or do you know the phone number? I would call them if that's what happened. They did say that. I mean, at least that's what they're telling. Brian Armstrong saying that they're going to cover any type of losses like this or whatever. I guess it's all going to be situational. So I hope that figures out, man. I really feel for you. That's terrible feeling, man. Says, I just want to say I love your content. You actually do the research and give a logical explanation, not just FUD and random opinions. I love you. Worked really hard the last 5 years to get to a place where we can like talk openly and it's a lot of fun. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support. I could be doing this without your support. So thank you. Hensei, how much XRP do you think you will actually need to succeed? Well, great question. Great question. It really is going to come down to like where you live, how much money you spend, how much money you're going to want to spend. If you can live off of minimal money, you can you don't need as much. But if you live in New York or California or one of these places that has very high cost of living, and it depends how big your family is and all of these different things, right? So I'd say over the next 5 to 10 years, I think XRP could definitely be 3-4 digits. So I'm trying to buy as much as I can, sensibly. I try to spread it out too, because it's so difficult, because I'm like, I want to buy more XRP, but then I'm like, maybe I should buy like some Chainlink, or maybe I should buy some more HBAR or something else. I kind of get stuck. But it's really a hard question to answer until you know all of those things about your life. What you could do is, if you kind of know how much it costs to live within your means, and you can start playing with AI to really get an understanding of how much money you might need to retire, and how you're going to create that money. So like something that people will do is they will use like their XRP or their RLUSD to do like treasury bonds and like yields that are like 3, 4, 5% a year. So if you have $1 million and you're getting a 4% yield, you're making $40,000 a year off of that treasury bond or whatever. So that's how a lot of people of wealth stay extremely wealthy, by not investing their money with too much risk. Treasury bonds are like the holy grail of low risk investment. That's what they say, at least. Crypto season hasn't even started yet. Yeah, I mean, like, we still have to go through summer, right? I think a lot of people are not remembering what summer usually looks like. Excuse me. Summer, at least when I remember summer in the crypto space, I remember a lot of people traveling, a lot of events happening, less trading that's actually happening. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, because Bitcoin is now getting to a place of 107, 108. It'll be 110,000 before you know it. So, are people still going to be paying attention this summer? I think so, man. I think it's going to be really, really, really fun. What are hey Fabian, thank you for the question. This is, what are the consequences of Ripple by Circle? New to the industry. Thank you, sir. So, I mean, consequences is probably not the right word there. I think, like ramifications, or like what could happen. We did talk about this briefly, maybe about 5-10 minutes ago, but we'll touch on it some more for you. And thank you for being here. Welcome. You're new. That's exciting. I remember when I was new to crypto. That was a long time ago. Different life. Anyways, to answer your question, Ripple would be in the driver's seat. So when I recorded the video earlier and I was talking about this, I was talking about how Ripple could use the Circle partnership to really kind of slingshot themselves forward. Because right now, RLUSD, let's just take a look here. Coin market cap. Let's go RLUSD. RLUSD should have... Let's pull this up here. Let me pull this up on my screen to show you. So RLUSD right now has $312 million in it. Okay. Let me show you how much USDC has. Okay. So immediately you would go from having $317 million worth of liquidity to then having $60 billion in liquidity. So overnight, this could help Ripple become the largest stablecoin issuer on the planet, right? USDT obviously is still in first place, but as we understand with USDT, not maybe reporting everything that they need to stay inside of the UK and the Euro markets, right? MiCA was passed in the European Union. That's 27 countries that now have regulation. That regulation states that stablecoin issuers have to do X, Y, and Z if they want to operate in this Eurozone. And if you don't do those things, you cannot operate on an exchange or have liquidity in those areas. So the United States' regulation should be a little stricter than MiCA, which means that USDT might not be allowed in Europe and it might not be allowed in the United States moving forward once regulation is actually passed here. So that would allow Ripple with Circle to become the largest stablecoin issuer on the planet, right? It would probably take a few years for Ripple's market share to slingshot USDT, but I think that's a very strong possibility when you take a look at all the facts on the ground right now and what Ripple's really trying to accomplish. And you're starting to see all of these other, like just the other day here, just the other day we had another stable coin that was issued. So was it Straits X? Was that it? Straits X on the XRP ledger? Here you go. Yeah, here you go. So just the other day, you had this stable coin that was just released. So this kind of talks a little bit larger of what the overall topic here is of stable coins. So here is Straits X bringing a regulated Singapore dollar stable coin to the XRP ledger. And this is on the public ledger. So, Ripple could start just issuing stablecoins. And, they would be in the power seat. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, you have a lot of these Republican led states that are first movers for crypto regulation in the States. Those are really going to be for like pensions and 401ks and all of those things to be able to invest in, Bitcoin and other crypto assets. It's pretty cool, man. Coinbase always gets back to me. Yeah, man. I feel you on that, dude. I feel you on that. Sensei, what are your thoughts on Flare? I heard Ripple is finding them. So, Flare has been working on their technology for many years. I think over the last few years, they've really been keeping their head down and building. You had a lot of people getting free Flare in the airdrop, a lot of selling pressure that was involved in there. Sooner or later, that selling pressure won't be there and it'll just be buying pressure. I think Flare is probably going to do some pretty insane numbers. It really does come down to Hugo Fillion and how much value they can transact on Flare per day. If you listen to his recent interview, he was talking about $10 billion. His goal is to do $10 billion in DeFi a day on Flare. And obviously, if he can achieve that, Flare is going to be worth some pretty penny. But we need to see if he achieves that. I don't know the number. Okay, let's see if we can find it for you, man. All right, I'm gonna try to see if I can do it for you. What is Coinbase's phone number for emergencies? Okay, let's see if we can. I use AI for a lot of this stuff. Okay, let's see if this is the real number though. Hold on. I don't want to just give you a number that's not the real number. So let's try to call them. 908-7930. Okay. Let's see. Is this the number?
Thank you for calling Coinbase.
That's the number.
Unlock your account due to a security concern.
All right. I'm not going to listen to all of the security things of like what you need to press and what you need to do, but this is the number for Coinbase that I was able to find for you. Do this, you the people. If you are unable to communicate with somebody there, if you reach out to me either in the Kryptonaires Discord or if you reach out to me on Twitter, just make sure you're talking to the real me. I will do what I can to reach out to Coinbase for you. Okay. I'll try to help you if you need help. All right. Fair. You like SoFi? Daniel, I don't really know enough. I don't, I couldn't give you a good answer, man. I wish I could. Thank you for the question though. Mike, it's about $8,000 to $10,000. Nothing crazy. Nothing like what you did. Appreciate you, Fred. Thank you so much, man. Sensei, being a newbie to crypto, Attila, that's a great name. Attila, wow. Sensei, being a newbie on crypto, just want to thank you for the work you do and the information is really easy to understand. Awesome. That is, you make my heart sing. I'm so happy to hear that. You have a boogie, dude? Do I really? You're just messing with me, huh? All right. Just playing. You're killing me, man. All right. Let's see here. Kyle says, what are your thoughts on Ripple becoming the first US crypto bank? I like this question, Kyle. It's a great question. Why not? Why wouldn't they do that? Right. I think once you become a bank, you can do more, right? Obviously, there is more reporting requirements and maybe stricter compliance and all this other stuff. But you got to remember, Ripple does all this stuff anyways, right? And everything Ripple does, there's compliance baked into it because they know who their customers are. Their customers are not me and you, right? Their customers are financial institutions and banks. So it would just make sense that this is the natural evolution of maybe where Ripple is going to go. They could have other plans, but I would imagine in all of the portfolio business of Ripple, part of it is probably going to have some type of bank. It'd be interesting to see if like Hidden Road has any type of licenses that make them some type of financial institution. I mean, they are a prime broker, but I don't know like what key details are like, makes up this or this or this. I'd have to research that, but maybe something definitely worth to take a look at. So Tom says, Sensei, what is the best cold storage wallet? That Coinbase story just got me worried. Yeah. So, guys, with any exchange, any exchange, even, something as reputable as Coinbase or Kraken or any of these guys, right? Things could happen. Like the Coinbase issue was probably avoidable. Okay. And I'll give you my opinion. Obviously, I don't have all of the, the key details. I'm not an attorney or anything like that. So I'm just giving a randomly free opinion on this, the way I see it, which I don't, I don't have all the information. But what I'm seeing here is that Coinbase had some of, some people that were working for Coinbase that weren't in like the US, or they weren't in maybe some primary markets that, if you leak this information, you could probably be arrested and something happened to you. I have no idea where the people were employed that like leaked the information, but some bad actors were able to talk with some people at Coinbase and they were able to leak some personal information of users. That personal information was then used to, I guess, access people's accounts or do other stuff. And so it's always good to be able to take your crypto off an exchange and self-custody it, whether it's like on a phone or a Ledger or a Treasure or a Decent wallet or whatever it is that makes you comfortable. Obviously, you want to do some due diligence and better understand the technology and just make sure that's a reputable company where you're storing all that stuff. But it's always a good idea to take your crypto off exchanges unless you're going to be trading it like that day, that second. Then obviously, if you're moving it back and forth, you could, lose it, right? And so you just want to be very careful. But it does suck. It does sound like, from what I heard, is that Coinbase wants to honor, any losses from people. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, right? There's one thing to say that you're going to do something, and it's another thing altogether to actually follow through and do it. Being the biggest and largest exchange in the United States and having so much to lose, I can't imagine a situation where Coinbase doesn't fix what's been messed up, but that's gonna come down to what the Coinbase team does. And you never know in crypto. Yeah, I know the feeling. And it's hard. And your hard-earned money, something that you might have been saving for years, and this is your future. I totally get where you're coming from. I would be worried too. So if you're having trouble, I mean, I don't know anyone personally at Coinbase, but I can, do what I can to use whatever position I have to try to help you. If you need help, just let me know. Okay. All right. Exit strategy, anyone taking profits? So like, listen, guys, there's two situations here. Okay. You're either in a market that's going to continuously keep going up, which is, super cycle, or you're in another 4-year cycle where you're going to have a bear market on the other side of whatever the highs are going to be for whatever tokens are going to happen over the next 6 to 8 months or whatever. So plan accordingly, right? Personally, I don't think we're at a place yet that we're just going to have a market that just like doesn't stop going down. I even the stock market has bear markets sometimes. I think you're always going to have the situation, but like I think people are a little forward thinking, because in 2021 I heard this exact same thing. It's a super cycle. It's never going to end. The music's not going to stop. And then you had Terra Luna, then you had FTX, and that was a rough time. If anyone remembers how low things were at that time, that was hard to get through. So plan accordingly. I think that if you talk with your financial advisor, whoever you trust to manage your money, make sure they understand crypto. Make sure it's not, they know what they're talking about. All right, let me catch up to some of these questions here. I just scroll down here. Any thoughts on reserve rights? I don't know, Jeff, like, it's probably been like 2 months since I've seen somebody ask me about RSR. Not saying that like RSR is not a good token or a good ecosystem. I haven't been keeping up since the last bull market about RSR. It's just when you're buying a crypto asset, especially in like the top 100 or top 500, you want to make sure that the community is really like behind the token, and you want to make sure that people are actively buying and trading the token. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at RSR. So if we pull up RSR here, let's just see like what the trading volume has been like. Let's take a look here. It's up 3% today. Let's see here. Let's see if we get some analytics going. 111,000 holders. Like, you see how this is kind of like flat here? There's not a ton of growth happening. So, since 5.3 to 5.17, there's only been like another 1,000 holders added. Like, this is the kind of stuff that you should be like taking a look at. Like, I don't know. Just doesn't seem like there's super interest in RSR at the moment, but I don't know here. 500 million market cap. The thing is, like, is there another asset that you probably could buy right now that might perform better than RSR? That's the only question I would ask, but best of luck, man. I just don't know enough about RSR recently to give you some good feedback. I don't know anything about Caleb and Brown, Rob. Sorry. I know, what's his name? Lewis. I think Lewis used to work with Caleb and Brown a lot. He would have more information. Caleb and Brown uses Fireblocks. Is it Fireblocks? Oh yeah, it's not. You know what it was? You had the right company name. You just spelt it wrong. It's Fireblocks. I was like, Fireblocks? Is that right? You had it right, NF, though. You got it. Forget RSR. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about ZBIC. A lot of people. That might be something to take a look at. Was it ZBIC? Hold on, ZBIC. Oh, that's not the right one. Fuck. Was ZB? What's the acronym? No. ZBIC network here. Like, it's interesting. It's only on KuCoin. It's not on Coinbase or Kraken. I don't know. This is something that might be a little bit more lucrative in the long run. I don't know. A lot of people are talking about ZBIC though on Twitter. I see it all the time. Kendu Inu? We made some money on Kendu earlier. We like when Kendu first came out, we called that pretty early. ZBIC is partnered with Ripple. I mean, I think we've seen in the past with every crypto company that a partnership doesn't necessarily mean like, a partnership just could mean they're going to work together on something, right? Doesn't mean like they're going to use their technology for everything. So, ZBIC is an uphold. Nice. Is ZBIC? Is that what we're talking about, Bink Nation? What are your thoughts on RiseNet? I don't know anything about RiseNet, Papa Coates. Is that a real project? RiseNet? Let's see. Hold on. Let's go to Twitter. Let's just even see if this is a real thing. Let's see. We're going to look at what this is. RiseNet. Is this a real token or is it a scam? Let's see here. RiseNet. Crypto Jeff. 789 followers. 230 followers. They're all posting almost the exact same thing. I don't know. I don't love it when every single account is posting the exact same thread day after day. Look, same thing. It just kind of makes me feel that this is doesn't make me feel good. Launched on Kraken recently. All right, fair enough. Why do people ask you about dumb coins? If you want to make money, buy utilities. I think people, I think everybody has different, people come from different backgrounds of knowledge. And when you first get into crypto, it's all about, buying utilities. And then when people get more comfortable, they're trying to buy like NFTs or participate in DeFi or buy meme coins or whatever. So it just really depends on kind of where you're at and what your risk tolerance is. But you're right. Buying utilities long-term will probably make you the most money than trying to, buy some other stuff. ZBCN. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate you. Bonk for the win. All right. T Murda says bonk for the win. I love it. My man, Crypto Pete says he's got a heavy bag of ZBIC and still loading. Also a big bag of XRP, man. Crypto Pete is going to be rich beyond measure soon. I feel like Crypto Pete's been making some big moves out here. Let's see here, Rob. Here is a serious question. How can you all on YouTube put an end to the literal hundreds of bots posting in shillings? So yeah, so Rob, real honestly here, I have a team of 2 people that spend hours a day deleting and banning bots from YouTube, and it's a full-time job. And the more you ban, the more frustrated the scammer gets and the more bots they send after you. So it really is a battle of, me paying thousands of dollars a month to somebody to spend hours a day deleting comments. And it's basically, there's nothing I can do about it at all. It sucks. We've banned tens of thousands of people from the channel over the past few years. Tens of thousands. I used to do hundreds a day. So try to do our best, man. It is real fucking annoying though. Excuse my language. It is really annoying. It's very tiring. I'm new to the space. 1 year I bought XRP at 40 cents. Well, damn, you got great timing. Well, don't let anybody ever tell you timing isn't on your side, man, because it definitely is. Let's see here, Jonathan. WTC is doing something, but I'm broke and I can't buy anything. What is WTC? I'm trying to think of the acronym in my head, but let's see here. Johnny Truck says, will you make a video on 10 steps for cashing out and how to set up XRP for passive income? You know what, Johnny? I'll work on that. Let me actually take a photo of your question here so I will remember it since I'm dealing with so many, different people and stuff like that. Sensei II. When I watch the shorts, I delete them at the same time too. Thanks, Curtis. I appreciate you, man. It's so frustrating. Robot Wars. It is Robot Wars, man. I don't know what WTC is. Give me the acronym. World Trade Coin. World Trade Coin. Does that sound like a real coin? World Trade Coin. You may express passionately about scammers. Listen, like, the industry should be better protected. Honestly, like, what it's going to take to stop these people, you probably will never do it. It probably only gets worse as like AI and all of these different, bot services, become more and more mainstream. You would need a total government like G20 situation where governments around the world share data on potential scammers in certain countries. And, you have to have a, security apparatus where you can go after these people, right? I mean, if you started putting like minimum sentences of like 10 years or 15 years in prison, if they catch these people, you might start getting people to find a new job. But until that happens, you're just going to get the same thing. And it's exhausting. But we'll keep fighting them. Yeah, if you mention XAI, dude, you're going to get fucking banned. Excuse my French. I'll watch the 10 steps video. All right, Kate. We got 2 people voting for the 10 steps thing. I will try to come up with at least 10 steps to try to go through it all. World coin. Yeah, I'm not going to do it, man. Sorry, guys. SEC delayed. Yeah, I saw that today, Nazir. I saw that, man. Let's see here. All right. You know what, guys? Go follow this account. This I prefer this person. She goes after scammers. She's got some personality. I like this person. So go show her some love and support, please. Go follow her channel. And when she reports people or she's, putting out some of the stuff, XT, I really like her personality, but she's going after the people that are, talking negatively about XRP. All right, let's take a look here. Let's take a look at some of this new news. Let's make sure I have the right screen up, which I do. That's awesome. High fives. All right, so we're looking for the ETF news, which should be here, right here. I mean, I don't really love, I'm just going to find a new comment here. I don't really love the posting from Monsieur Kenny. I mean, anyways, it's delayed. I thought I had a Perplexity tile with all the information on the delays, but I think it's on another video that I made. Yeah, I think it's pushed out to like July 15th. If memory serves me correctly, I think July 15th is when it's been pushed out to. It's not indefinitely, but they are trying to figure out what they're trying to do here. Perhaps the tokenization video. Chris, I make a lot of tokenization videos. Like, a lot of what I do is about tokenization and future value. So Brett says, please explore off-ramps, selling, and passive opportunities for XRP. I've been in the space since 2017 and would love to understand these points, specifically the passive options. Mahalo. I got you, Brett. I'll work on that for you, man. Thank you so much for the idea. I'll put something together for you guys. Bink, I've seen a lot of people talking positively online, like on Twitter and stuff like that, but I haven't put too much time into researching Pi. There's so much to know in the crypto space. Like, there really is just not enough time in my life to do all this. But here is what we're talking about here. If anyone didn't know Pi, this is Pi. up 20% in the last month. In the last 7 days, we're actually down 40%. So, this thing actually has a high here back in the start of this year of about $2.93. You know what the shit part about this is? All right, so I'll tell you just from looking at this, when you look at the left here, what is the first thing that you see here that might be like something that you should be worried about in the future? Right, the first thing you should be looking at here is how many tokens are circulating, right? And how many tokens are max supply. So right now, Pi, just understanding this, right? Like if I was going to buy Pi today, what I would do is I would need to find out the schedule of the release of the tokens, because I would imagine this is going to have an aggressive release of tokens over the next 12 to 24 months. This is probably a newer project. Let's see here. The data started tracking on this at the beginning of this year, so I don't know. I would be nervous about the supply, and I'd want to better understand that first. But this thing's already at a $5.4 billion market cap. Personally, do you think like maybe HBAR or ADA or any of these other tokens might be better? I don't know. I'm buying HBAR. I'm buying ADA. A few other things here. Remember the 5th of November. Is this from a famous saying, right? Remember the 5th of November. Oh, V for Vendetta? Is that V for Vendetta? It's V for Vendetta, isn't it? I remember. Any chance I'm a Grateful Dead fan like Joel? Are we talking about The Last of Us, Joel? Have you ever considered doing a video on XLM? I've considered it. I think there are a lot other people that could do XLM much better than I could. What's hard? Like I could make videos about HBAR and XLM and all these other assets, but they're like what I don't love is like when I look at someone's YouTube channel and they have, 1 million subscribers and their active views on videos is like 20,000 or 15,000 or 10,000. Like I want to be the best I can be at like one topic or one thing. And I worked really hard to do that. And like I don't know if I would be doing those people justice if I took on like XLM as well as XRP, but I'll take it under consideration. Telcoin. Meta would be better off buying Circle. Fuck, dude. Meta. Let me ask you a question, right? Like serious question here. Okay. There's 1,600 of you watching here. 1,200 of you are on Twitter. 397 of you are on YouTube. Okay. How many of you people seriously use Facebook or Meta? How many of you like day to day, like that's an app that you are like, man, I can't live without? Like the only person in my life that uses Facebook, I guess I don't ask this question enough. Like, hey, do you use Facebook? Huh? So my mom uses Facebook. That's the only person I know in my life that uses Facebook. So I don't know. Like, I think Facebook is a place where good companies could go to die personally. I don't know. I don't love it. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, Kate. It often gets me in trouble, but we're good. Curtis says, what was you're not going to happen? Comment giving the mod back. Wait, did you lose your mod status, Curtis? What am I missing here? Hold on. I think you still have your status, Curtis. Let's see here. Curtis. Ariana's there. Curtis Lee. Hold on. I don't know how you got unmonitored. Managing monitor, standard monitor. Hold on. Can manage block words, change chats, modes, and live. Can review remote chat messages and put user on timeout. There you go. I don't know what happened there, Curtis. I do apologize, but I gave it back to you. Okay, sorry. Wasn't my fault. Facebook is the shit. Yeah. Okay. All right. I believe you. I do. I'm old. Oh shit! You made a joke about Zaya and you got removed. It was probably Ariana. Not to bust drive Ariana. She's awesome. You know, she probably was just trying to, you know, she wasn't looking at who was saying it. She was just looking at the Zai thing. That's so funny. Strategy could buy Circle. What a power play it would be. Strategy. Let's look at who Strategy is. Perplexity. Who is Strategy and could they buy Circle? We'll see what this is about here. Coinholio says Strategy could buy them. Clarifying Strategy. There is no company with the name Strategy. Am I smoking rocks? Strategy could. Oh, I think you're just saying the strategy could be to buy Circle. That would be a power play. Okay, my bad. My bad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. So hold on really quickly. I just needed to ask, and I probably, you know, this question might be very random. Okay. So, I'm interested to know in the chat, have you ever heard of something called Sunny Angels? Have you ever heard of something called Sunny Angels? This is not a crypto question. This is not like a quiz. I'm just asking for my own, you know, for my own sense. If you guys know what a Sunny Angel is. You do make you laugh. You don't know what Sunny Angels are? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. Cause like this is starting to become like a bigger thing in Hawaii. And I'm just wondering if it's like a bigger thing everywhere, or if it's just kind of because Hawaii is close to Japan. All right. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Here, let me show you what these are. Because you might soon. This is becoming popular in Hawaii. So I don't know what these things are, but my wife is like addicted to these things. And I just spent like $300 or $400 buying. They're like these little collection items things. I don't know. There's also these, and then there's these other things that are very popular. What are they called? They go on your purses. They're like, hold on. See, like this is what I do in my spare time. What are these things called? I don't know. They go on your purse. They're like little monsters. Hold on, let me see here. They're like these things. Here, let me remove this here. They're like these things that go on your bags. I don't know. They're like, they come in these mystery bags and you open them. I don't know. Yes. La Bubu. See? Very Hawaii. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. La Bubu. Yeah. See, some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Here, you want to see a video? Here, I'll show you a video. Like if you want to see what I think I could show you this video. Let me show you this. So like I was trying to hold on. Can I? Oh. Okay. So here, like I'm about to show you a video that not many people see. This is kind of like my personal life. All right. And I don't show this too much, but here is this is fun. All right. This is me sharing this with you. All right, here. So here, check this out. Can I open this one? Yeah. Okay, so maybe not so much.
It was almost an accident. Almost took the whole thing down. I'm so low. Okay. You can take the plastic off now.
I can do it now?
Yes.
Okay. You sure? Here it goes. All right. I want the seal. So now what do I do with this? Like I pop it out?
No, it pop like this. It pop like this. Let me show you.
I want to pop it.
You're gonna see here.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna hold like this, and you're gonna squeeze it so it pops out.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. All right. And then I rip the top, but I don't look at it or something. I show.
Yeah. Wait.
Am I doing it okay? Anyways, we had some fun opening these things over the weekend. I was bored. We were bored, you know. So like, I don't know. Taisa wanted to get these things, and they had like some like fair or something. And so we stopped. I bought like a few $100s worth of them, and then she opens them with her friends. But I got to open one, and so I felt good. What is happening? I don't know. We just got a little bored. We've been talking about crypto for an hour and a half, and so we just did something else for a second. I hope that's okay with you. Love you, man. Thank you. No, it was fun. It was fun. I can get a little goofy when we're not talking about crypto. She was so excited. So she's going to be embarrassed that I shared that video, but all good. All good. All right. What are the questions you guys got? He'd be one of the richest men on the planet in 3 years. Who we talking about? Well, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson. Great to see you, Kate. Thank you for liking it. Been a Kryptonaires for years. This is the first time I saw your wife. I know, huh? I don't put like my personal life out there too much, you know? Gotta keep it on the DL. But Sailor's gonna be a gazillionaire. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really rooting for Michael Saylor. I think he's a very interesting fellow. Obviously, I'm rooting for the XRP community and Brad Garlinghouse and all that stuff. Loomis will never meet with Brad. Yeah, Henry, you're probably right, man. You're probably right. But like, let me ask you this question. You know, if you are the chair, like you are the head of a committee, right? Isn't it your job to meet with people? Like, isn't that exactly what you're supposed to do? Like, even if you don't like somebody, aren't you still supposed to like suck it up and pretend to like them for, 10 minutes or 15 minutes while the meeting just concludes? I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are on either side of this, right? A lot of people that are pissed off that she's snubbing the XRP community. And there's a lot of people that love that she's snubbing the XRP community. So it's difficult. Saylor converting Bitcoin to XRP? I don't think so, man. That would be like his death, I think. If Saylor even remotely steps out of line with his, whole Bitcoin thing, they would eat him alive. He would not make it through. Would you ever sell the seal painting? I mean, it's not like, it has what can you say? Like personal, like, but it's not like, it's not, I think it was printed off Etsy or something. It's like $30 or something. You could have a seal too if you wanted to. So, I'm waiting for, I have this another figurine that is being sent to me here. Let me show you this. So like, I'm waiting to get this in the mail. I bought this in 2021 when I had, money was falling out of my pockets, went to Vegas, and I just felt like spending like $800 on this like Mandalorian Mickey Mouse doll thing. And that's going to be here soon. So I don't know where I'm going to put that. Maybe next to the seal or over there somewhere. We'll figure out a place. I appreciate that. I would consider myself a cool dude, but you need to consider me a cool person. I'm just kidding. No, we had fun though. I will try to record another opening. It was suspenseful. The rest of the video is kind of like goofing around. She's doing the opening. Maybe I'll show you the rest of it another day. I have a question about Zai. Oh, you are trying to get banned. It is a scam. So like, hold on. Okay, really quickly. Don't ban this person. Okay, so really quickly. So there is Zai Games, which is a real company. Okay, so like this is Zy Games. Okay, so this is, yikes. Love to see that so low. So this is Zy Games. All right, this is a layer 3 on Arbitrum, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. This is a whole gaming ecosystem on Arbitrum. We got into these nodes pretty early. I don't know why that's not. Oh, here it is. I just needed to wait. Patience is not my strong suit. Load, please. All right. Well, the website's trying to load, but this is a real project. The other Zy, like the what people are talking about, like Zy something numbers 24x, Zix, whatever, that's a scam. People are just trying to scam you. Here's the Zy Games website. I mean, I think it's gonna be really popular. What's your opinion on SHX? What's up, Doze? Doze, cool name. Stronghold, SHX. We've talked about that in previous chats. I think, I think it's very undervalued as far as what it is and like the possibilities and partnerships. I mean, you got to understand that this market is mainly speculation. So, is this an opportunity for people? Probably at $53 million. I mean, we are going the wrong way here a little bit, and it might be a little rocky through summer, but eventually this is going to start taking off. I mean, this has this very similar supply issue as Pi that we just looked at a little bit ago, having 5 billion circulating and 99 billion max supply. So, I would just want to better understand when those unlocks are going to happen. But I've seen a lot of positive people talking about Stronghold online. Sentimental value. Thank you, Miss Erica. You got it. That's what I was trying. My brain wasn't making the connection. As you can see, like there was like 2 loose connections up there and it was just not working. So thank you. Max Kaiser, your thoughts? Max Kaiser. For some reason, I thought you were talking about the Usual Suspects movie, right? But that's not Max Kaiser. That's something else Kaiser. It's Kaiser Sosa. I don't really have an opinion about Max Kaiser. I think he's very passionate about what he loves and what he believes in. And, if I could have 10% of his passion in Bitcoin, then, I'd be a very passionate person. So Sailor is buying XRP recently. Is that true? I feel like I've seen people say that, but it's hard for me to believe that. Let's see if we can find any real proof that Michael Saylor is buying XRP. Is there any articles? Let me see, articles or proof Michael Saylor is buying XRP. Let's see, Michael Saylor, MICHAEL. Let's see. We'll see right now. There's no credible evidence or official announcement that he's buying it. So if he is buying it, I mean, obviously it's kind of like rumor mill. And I mean, I don't think he would ever admit to it personally, but he could be. I mean, obviously if Michael Saylor sees a play with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin goes to 5 million or 10 million, XRP is going to get some of that market share. So, LEX, I love you, man. I'll see you. Yeah, we'll probably wrap up here in about 10, 15 minutes. I'm just going to answer some more questions. What are your thoughts on Jake Claver? He says XRP could hit 4 digits by the end of the year. Listen, Jake Claver is a very highly intelligent, well-connected individual. Would I like to see XRP, 4 digits this year? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't personally, but I think Jake, when he was talking about that, he was talking about like best case scenario, right? Obviously, there would be a lot of things that would need to happen and go incredibly well over the next 6 to 7 months to see even something even close to a price like that. And, something like that would require like an epic piece of news that just shocks the whole market. Like an example of this would be the US the US's new financial system runs on XRP or something like that. And like Trump would need to say it, or there would need to be something from Congress, or like it would need to be out of this world to bring the demand for XRP that high that quickly. But you know, if Jake thinks it's possible, and he said that publicly, which I've seen the clip, you know, if he thinks it's possible, he knows a lot of people at Ripple. He knows a lot of people like XTC, and he understands tokenization. He understands where real value is going to come from. Fuck, that'd be cool. Who's getting that DTCC money? Henry, man, I like your style. I really do like your style. It seems I don't think it's going to be just one chain to rule them all. I think they might I think obviously HBAR. I think HBAR has a real shot to get a good chunk. You know, when you looked at the patent for the DTCC, you saw like here. Let's pull this up, right? Let's see here. Let's reset this. Hold on. Let's pull this up. We were talking about DTCC. All right. Hold on. Shoot. Okay. The DTCC patent that was just talked about in the news, which blockchains does it mention? I just want to make sure I have the right list in my head. I think I have it, but I want to be exact with you here as we go through this information. Give me 1 second as I pull this up. Okay, so here is where this is where the DTCC has been thinking value is going to wind up over the last few years. Okay, so when they were doing these patents, obviously this was something that they built, they tested, they applied for it, you know, over the last few years, and this is what came up. So just looking at the list here of possibilities, do you think tokenization value will wind up on Bitcoin? Right? I personally don't think Bitcoin is the best solution for tokenization. I think that they wanted to be able to settle in Bitcoin, but I don't think the settlement will really take place in Bitcoin. I do think you're going to see some value on Ethereum for sure. Hedera Hashgraph, absolutely. Binance Smart Chain. So like Binance, Tron, these two, I start to wonder, right? If you are the biggest financial market infrastructure in the United States that is responsible for working with the biggest banks in the world, right? In the United States, would you want to be associated with some of the things Binance has been accused of, and that CZ was just kind of put into jail for over the past maybe 6 to 12 months? I don't think the DTCC wants to be involved with BNB or even Tron at this point. That's just my personal opinion. That could be wrong. I think they wanted the ability to be able to settle value on these networks, but I just don't see Binance and Tron being used in the US because of those reasons. Now, like Flow, I mean, not really. Tezos, not really. Cosmos, definitely I could see. Like the winners here, in my personal opinion, would be Ethereum, Hashgraph, Cosmos, and the XRP ledger. That's where I think some of this value will wind up. Escrow coming for SHX, so that's really good. That'll help. That'll definitely help, man. I started off with like 80 or 100,000. I started off at 80 or 100,000. I didn't get to keep all of it though. It's a whole mess. Made a bunch of money. Wasn't really good about keeping it though. I didn't know enough about the market during the time. I kept a lot of money in the market, and then like Terra Luna collapsed, and I lost a lot of money from that. And I learned some hard lessons. But if I could make it, I could really make it. So thanks for the question. They just, yeah, we talked about that fire drill earlier. It's, they pushed it back. I think July 15th is when Pro Shares is when they pushed it back to. What do you think about Sui? I think Sui is like if you ask me, we've been talking about Sui since what is like 70 cents, 70, 80 cents, something like that. I mean, obviously we were talking about it at like 10 cents. That'd be just fucking awesome. But, we've been talking about it since it was, 60, 70 cents. And I think that if people are looking to invest in the future, that is probably one of going to be the most popular blockchains over the next 5 to 10 years. So I think Sui's a great, great hold. It's very strong. I never get the notification you're going live. So I stream on Twitter and I stream on YouTube at the same time through StreamYard. And I think YouTube doesn't like that I stream on Twitter at the same time. So when I go live, I don't think it tells people that I'm live. I've been thinking about like moving the stream just to YouTube and see kind of like what the numbers are like. I don't know. I haven't been brave enough to actually do it yet, but I'm thinking about it. Jake said that there are several things that could happen for all that to happen. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a lot of. I think we can all agree that if XRP could reach a very high value this year, it would take just every single right thing to happen, right? It's a heavy ask. And I think there's more of a chance of it not reaching those levels than reaching those levels. But there could be a situation where there could be a big shock to the system. We don't quite yet know. I just wouldn't put money on it. I wouldn't bet on it. I don't see what he sees, I guess. I would love, listen, I'd love to get up here and say we're headed to the moon. I think that'll happen eventually. I just don't think I don't think we're as far down the road of regulation and institutions and banks and the next billion people getting into crypto. I don't think we're just there yet. We're close, but we're not there yet. Declare, like, that could be well, RLUSD, to declare it legal tender, right? It is already a U.S. stablecoin, and with this regulation coming in with the Genius Act, that does basically say that stablecoins are considered legal tender. Now, if RLUSD became like the de facto stablecoin for the U.S. government, that could be maybe what you're talking about there. The only problem is, we've been talking about this too. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've brought this up. If you watch a lot of my content, and if you come to these chats and you sit here and you listen, you know that a lot we've brought up Ripple removing CBDCs from their website, right? And that happened right around the time where Ripple figured out that Trump was going to win the election. Now, some people are bringing that up today or last 2 days when all of this stuff is going on with Senator Loomis. People are mentioning that Ripple has been in the CBDC space, and that's going against what the Trump administration wants. So we don't really know what the complexities of that are, and if it is really a problem for Trump or his team that Ripple has been working in the CBDC space. Because remember, you're dealing with somebody that can be, very. Trump is very interested in what is this deal going to do for him and his administration and his legacy. And if he thinks that XRP or Ripple or whatever could work against that, I could see where he might not be super for Ripple or XRP. So we really need to see how all of this plays out. I did that the best I could. Ay. I busted you for the political stuff, but I've resubscribed for your reporting and analysis. We got him back, ladies and gentlemen. See that? Just remember to be yourself, and people will come back. I love you. Thank you for coming back. I did miss you. I was thinking about you. I'm glad you're back. All right. And I've been really good today. And I was really good last Friday. I'm trying my best. I am trying my best. I have always been a very emotional person, and I wear my feelings on my sleeve, and you can see that, pretty cleanly. I just want to see the country do good, right? Whatever happens, whoever's in charge, whatever the next 10 years looks like, I just want to see everybody doing well. All right. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate you. Garlinghouse said himself at the conference years ago. What are we talking about? Well, which part did he say? XRP and Circle, did that deal get done? Hey, Papa Joe, welcome to the chat, man. Great to have you here. So it's not XRP and Circle. Just trying to get the verbiage here right with you. Ripple looks like Paul Barron, who is definitely somebody who is a reliable, usually a reliable source of information. He tweeted out that there is now a bidding war for Circle between Ripple and Coinbase. And so we have been talking about this today to an extent to better understand like what's happening. We've come to the conclusion that we don't, a lot of people in the chat believe that Coinbase, if they were going to do something, they probably would have done it already, and that Ripple has a real shot here of making it happen. But we also brought up and discussed that there could be other companies who might be interested in Circle's infrastructure as well. So, it's been actually a really interesting chat, Papa Joe. I'm glad to have you here with us. How vulnerable is Circle USDC to a bank run? So I hear what you're saying, and it's really good to think about it this way. The hard thing with a bank run usually is like the bank doesn't have enough deposits on hand to handle withdrawals. Like the demand for withdrawals has exceeded how much money is actually in the bank or how much money is coming into the bank. That's when you usually have a run on the bank. With stable coins, they're inherently backed up with treasuries or some type of short-term securities, sometimes stocks, maybe sometimes, other types of assets, could be gold or silver or something like that. Right. But majority is backed up by treasuries. So you really, you shouldn't really have a run if the stablecoin is highly liquid, which means it has the reserves to back up. So it doesn't matter how much of the demand people are trying to cash in, you still have reserves to equal all of those cash outs. So could there be a run? Yes, there's always a possibility of a run, but Circle is pretty well liquid at this moment. But Ripple is coming in offering them double what their IPO value is worth. I don't know how many, to a certain extent, people at Circle are probably like, hey, if we can withstand this, attempted buyout, we're going to be one of the biggest stablecoin players in the world over the next, 2 decades. But Ripple understands that too, and they're playing to win. And I wouldn't sleep on Ripple right now. I think Ripple has a real shot at it, but there's also like, BlackRock and some of these bigger institutions, maybe even Facebook or something like that, that could come in and try to buy Circle. But as the price of Circle is getting higher and higher, that does limit the companies that are able to buy. So we'll have to see. But thank you so much for that. I love this. See, you make my heart so much better, man. Like, thank you. I want you to know that like, it's not personal. I just want to see everyone doing good. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. John, good to see you. That's my saying. Sensei wearing his heart in his sleeve. I do. And, I'm a regular person at the end of the day, and I'm trying to figure out all this stuff just as you are. And you know, my personal feelings often come out in these chats, and sometimes they don't line up with what everyone's feelings are. And it's glad that, you know, we can get past this. So awesome, love it. Let's keep getting here. Ripple getting Circle would be the equivalent of owning Boardwalk and Park Place. I love that, Henry. That's a great reference. That is a Monopoly reference. If you don't know, that's a good one, man. How many times you played that when you were a kid, man? They have like all the different editions to, like the Star Wars edition, and you know, they have all these like different Monopoly editions. Yeah, everyone has their own views. You know, I think we've seen over the last like 20 years that both sides can say things that never come true. And you know, as people who elect these people, you know, we should always be you know, we can trust, but we also need to verify, right? And yeah, love it. Sensei Live, what's up? Wolf Riot Star. Let's see here. DMT says, do you think Brad Garlinghouse is ever going to meet with Senator Loomis? You know, we did bring this up today, and this has been a ongoing topic of conversation today as we go through this chat. I think there's a lot of us that hope that she does. I think that would be the adult thing to do, regardless of how you feel. I think the just the complexities of her son-in-law, like if it wouldn't be as bad if her son-in-law wasn't this kind of, you know, Bitcoin only personality who's actively making money with Bitcoin in the United States. You know, I think if you didn't have all of those layers of complexity on it, it would be kind of more cut and dry. But it does feel to a lot of people in the XRP space that this person, Senator Loomis, is doing, you know, is doing these for either her own personal or financial gain, or her family's own personal financial gain, or she hates Brad Garlinghouse. We just don't know. We don't know. And this will play out. Let's hope that cooler heads prevail. These people are both, Loomis and Brad Garlinghouse are both very good proponents of crypto and change and adoption in the United States. And I think they could get more done working together than working, you know, against each other. But we're going to have to see how it plays out. I think also too, if you live in Wyoming, right, you could call Senator Loomis's office, since you are in her state, and say that you would like to see her do the right thing in your eyes, which is have a meeting with Brad Garlinghouse. You have that power to call and ask her to do that. So if you are in her state, and if you can do that, you know, send an email, pick up the phone, and make some change happen. That'd be cool. Getting rich but not stepping on anyone to get there, very hard to do in life, right? You know, if you if you're in some of these, you know, industries where everyone is stepping on each other to get somewhere, you know, that's kind of the area that I didn't really want to work in for the rest of my life, always competing with other people to do stuff. Now, you know, I get to wake up, I get to research news, I get to make cool content, and love this. We are all in this together. I love it, man. I'm so glad to have you back. We missed you in the chat, to be honest with you. We missed you. Gen X is here. I'm new to your channel and started buying XRP and a few others a few months ago. I enjoy your posts and all in on XRP, holding for the long haul. Love to have you. Win Sox win. Love that. Is it Win Sox win? It's not the Boston Red Sox, right? Or is it the White Sox? I don't know. Don't shoot me, but glad to have you. What other assets are you buying now that you're new to crypto? I'd love to better understand what other things that you are excited about outside of XRP, but XRP is king. Love it. See here. Let me go down. I got some more questions. BlackRock equals Coinbase. Yeah. See, like that's what I was talking about earlier, Henry. Like think about if you're BlackRock though. Like think about if you're BlackRock, why wouldn't you be trying to buy Circle? I think that's like, unless BlackRock already has their infrastructure set up, right? They're played to have their own kind of crypto infrastructure. I don't see why they wouldn't try to buy a company like Circle. Let's see here. Richard says Paul Barron has got a lot of things wrong. I used to listen to him, but he definitely gives too much of institutional view. You know, it's tough, man. Like, you know, I think when you get to a certain place and you're trying to like break news and you're trying to be the person that really, you know, gets to something first, it didn't make sense to me that Ripple would, you know, double their offer for Circle. I haven't seen any offer really from Coinbase yet, so it's kind of strange to hear this, but you know, there's a lot of people that think he's very reliable, so we'll see how it comes out. Let's see here. So Jake said Japan needs to collapse for the domino effect to play. I saw Levi post a video showcasing evidence that Japan is at critical levels. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Curtis. Here. Let's see here. Where is it? We were talking about what's going on with Japan right here. Here, I'll actually post this if you want it. This is, you know, what can happen to Japan's economy now that the bond market is messed up. Take a look at that AI thing. It has a lot of really good detailed information there if you want it. Crypto isn't red or blue. It's all about green. I love that. Love to hear that. Technology should be bipartisan. Somehow the last administration tried to kill a technology. I know, man. It was painful. I don't know what their thought process is going against millions of Americans that want, like, if you have 60 million people living in a country that has, like, the US has like 330 million people total, 250 to 280 million adults. Okay. So if you're dealing with, you know, 50 million or 60 million of those adults that own crypto, you're dealing with like 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6 people are passionate about this industry. You would think those type of numbers are hard to ignore, but they did a pretty good job ignoring them. And I think we saw what that was like for Democrats taking those positions against the crypto market. And I think that's kind of what's led to where we are today. And I think, you know, 2026 is around the corner. That's where midterms happen. And if Democrats don't keep playing ball with Republicans, then they might have some problems at the ballot box. That's just how it goes. Love that, Vince. Appreciate you, man. We need to focus on our common beliefs. That's XRP, right? Let's see here. Let's see. Lante TV says, could the Genius Act inadvertently centralize stablecoin issuance among large banks, e.g. JP Morgan, rather than fostering innovation? So great question. The Genius Act is actually, so I just did a video on this that covered this exact point. Now that it's interesting that you brought this up. So the Genius Act actually has provisions inside of it for self-custody, and it actually kind of goes against big institutions and banks. It doesn't give them full control. So actually the Genius Act is more for the everyday person. At least that's from what I understand from the information that I've taken in from what is inside of the bill. All right. Obviously, I haven't read the bill page to page, but I've used AI to kind of give me the differences and all that stuff. And I know that's a big thing. Yeah, I know, man. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Remember when Dean was trying to get retribution for XRP holders? You have a better chance seeing that money than Loomis and Garlinghouse meeting. Yeah, you're probably right, Henry. You know, I mean, like, you know, is it going to happen? Doesn't feel like it's going to happen. I think the pushback from the Bitcoin community would be swift. And I mean, let's be honest here. You know, most politicians are, you know, they're able to keep running for office because they get donations. And I bet you, if you took a look at Senator Loomis's donations that a lot of people in the Bitcoin ecosystem are giving to her campaign, Obviously, we'd have to pull up a full list of all this stuff to really kind of dig into it. But I wouldn't be shocked, right? If you're only catering to like one group of people inside of this entire crypto ecosystem, chances are you're getting something from those people to do that, right? Or like, why would you have these views if not? I think that's what a lot of people are thinking. Chicago White Sox. All right. Thank you for helping me correct me. Man, I used to play baseball like when I was a kid, right? Like, you know, having a lot of fun. And like I haven't really watched baseball in some time, but I started watching like the LA Dodgers cuz I'm a Giants fan at heart, you know, I grew up in the Bay Area. But like it's very interesting to see like Mookie Betts and the Japanese guy, like the monster guy who's like hitting all the home runs. It's very fun to watch those games. Like I watched the replays and stuff. Anyways, random thoughts. BlackRock is heavily involved with Ripple. You know, I think they have to be, right? Like, you know, if you're wanting to be the biggest financial giant in the world and you have 9 trillion or 10 trillion dollars under management, chances are you're working with the biggest companies in that industry, right? And that's what BlackRock does. So thank you for helping me better understand, Christopher. I appreciate you, man. And thank you guys for all the kind words, hitting the like button. I really appreciate that. That does help. Let's see here. It says, Dave says, got my 19-year-old daughter into crypto. Such a proud dad. Bitcoin or ADA? ADA this market. ADA this market. So I think Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin can hit 500,000 or $1 million this cycle, you're only looking at a 5 or 10x. I think ADA has a stronger possibility to make higher returns. Long term, obviously, you know, it's anybody's guess, but I think ADA has this huge airdrop coming up, this glacier drop, where you're bringing people from Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and all these different ecosystems into your ecosystem. Obviously when you're doing an airdrop that big, there's probably not going to be a ton of value in the tokens that you're going to be selling, but it'll bring people into your ecosystem. One of the hardest things for crypto companies and blockchains to do is bring in, 500,000 or 1 million brand new users in a short time period. This is getting a 37 million person airdrop. So chances are you're going to bring in 5-10 million people that are going to be interested in, setting up a wallet and maybe getting into DeFi. And if you time it really well with some other announcements, that could be really, really big for ADA. I hope that helps, Dave. And then, hey, congrats on doing this with your family. My dad actually is the one who got me into XRP. So that's a really cool moment, man. That's really nice to see. Let's see here. It says, Brett says, not sure where I heard this, but I think it's great. Trump wants to tank the dollar, force BRICS to hand over, force BRICS hand, and then have XRP come in and solve a problem. Not sure validity, but interesting. I think that's a possibility. Absolutely. I think Trump understands that the US is at a very sketchy point right now, right? You do have inflation just kind of bottomed out at like 2.4, 2.5% last month, right? Reaching better lows than where we thought it would be. But, a lot of things that are happening right now are inherent inflationary. The Fed has a mandate to work on inflation and unemployment. When both of those things are going up at the same time, with inflation and unemployment, the Fed is supposed to focus on inflation. So that is why the Fed believes that, they're not going to make any progress the rest of this year on inflation. Trump wants to bring rates down. Obviously, if you can bring rates down, that could drive extra GDP and growth as companies are able to borrow and do more. And so I think lowering rates could do a lot of good for the economy, but it could also put us right back into a situation where we're dealing with higher inflation. And I think that was one of the, people's largest issue under the Biden administration was their how they dealt with inflation. And so it's a very a tricky place where the U.S. is right now, and I think they're trying to do the best with what they got, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Question, CA. I mean, so like the hard part about this though, like think about this, right? You have Fed now. Fed now is supposed to replace FedWire and Nacha and all these payment systems. Fed now is an instant system that you can plug and play, HBAR, XRP, whatever you want to do. It's very cheap. It doesn't cost very much to send a payment. I think the send an average payment on that new system is like a cent or 20 cents. Like I can't remember the exact cost, but it's very cheap. Like, do you inherently build a different system on top of Fed now, or do you utilize Fed now with crypto? Like, this is what they have to figure out, I think. I think it's planned. They don't move fast. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Henry. Richard says Ondo is partnered with BlackRock, Wall Street 2.0. Yep, that is very, very true. So Kate, so Trump, this is just from like what I understand when I researched this, but Trump cannot fire Jerome Powell unless Jerome Powell is doing something that is against his mandate. Jerome Powell's mandate, let's just be clear here. I mean, it doesn't matter what Trump thinks of him. Powell's mandate is to control inflation, which that's what they've been doing. Now, if the president was able to influence the board of governors, so there's 12 people at the Fed that actually decide on rate changes. That's what at least I understand. And it's not just Jerome Powell, it's those 12 board of governors, right? He's one of those people. He's just the one who's always out there and the chairman who's actually speaking. So it would be those 12 people that would need to decide to lower rates, not just Jerome Powell. So it's an interesting situation. Like institutions, like if you saw the drama when Trump wanted to fire him or brought up firing him, you did see a lot of like JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon and these types of people actually going to bat for Jerome Powell. I think Jerome Powell, I think when it comes to banks and institutions, they think he has like a more a 10-year outlook on the economy, 5-year outlook. And I don't know, it's a very complicated situation. I don't think Trump will end up firing him, but anything could happen, in today's, what's it called? Yes, retail. Like, honestly, guys, homework is already done. Retail before institutions. You've never had this opportunity before. Make it count. Make it count. Like, understand over the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be some life-changing money made in the crypto industry. You can either be a part of that or you can, fight the system, right? It would make sense. Like if you are in a place in your life where you are happy with maybe, your family and your loved ones, but maybe you need more security, you need more money, you need a retirement, whatever that is. If you listen to any, like Raoul Paul or any of these really big people, these institutions are talking about the crypto market going from 2 to 3 trillion to 100 trillion over the next 8 to 10 years. So you're talking about a market that still needs to grow 98 or 97%, right? There's going to be a lot of money to be made in those 5 to 10 years. And I think this is going to be the most exciting industry that the world has ever seen. And I think I think people are undervaluing how much money is actually going to go into all this. Cardano or ADA? Cardano is ADA, Mike. It's the same thing. Cardano is the company. ADA is the ticker for the token. All right. Let me just show you here if you're not familiar. So if we go here to CoinMarketCap and we type in, Cardano, it brings up ADA here. And here it is right here. All right. But good question, Mike. Thanks for asking it. When does the Senate actually vote? So if you listen to oh God, what's the guy's name? Bill Haggerty. He's the senator that put the bill forward. He said that they might even be able to vote in the next week or two. Realistically, this could go into June. But you know, if they have the votes, they will push it forward. I think they don't want to. They need to make sure they have all 70 votes before they do it, though. Okay. Do I know anything about the Genius blocks? I think you're talking about like the early days of the XRP where they were kind of rewritten and stuff like that. It's not fresh in my head, Henry. Sorry. How do you get the airdrop? So Andrew, the ADA airdrop, there's supposed to be a snapshot. They haven't said if the snapshot has already happened or if the snapshot is happening in the future. I haven't really been able to find that answer. We also don't know exactly when this is all going to be rolled out. I would imagine if it's going to be rolled out in the next month or two, they probably already did the snapshot. So as soon as I have that information, I will let you know. I have a hard time with that ADA, dude. I can understand that. I can understand that. Charles Hodgkinson is you either love him or you hate him or you either deal with him, right? That's your options. I think, you know, I have found in my life that some people that I cannot stand, you know, it doesn't kind of matter my overall feelings of the person if they can deliver on what they're saying that they can deliver. Charles Hodgkinson is one of those kind of polarizing figures in the crypto industry where people have strong opinions about him, but he has shown in the past that he can deliver. And, you know, I'm rooting for him in the end. You know, I think all of this stuff can make a lot of people extremely wealthy, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to have a little fun. We're here to make some money, and we're here to, you know, hopefully retire. I think that's why I'm here. That's the goal. So I heard the airdrop is a joke. I mean, yes, you are going to have scams. There is going to be you know, shade. There is going to be everything that comes with airdrops. You're absolutely going to see that, crude dog. It says, it says Trump can't fire someone who works for a private company. The Fed isn't federal. I believe that's accurate, right? But I think he can. You know what? Let's take this to Perplexity. Can the president fire the Fed? All right, short answer. No, the president cannot directly fire the Federal Reserve before the end of term, except potentially for cause. There you go. So you cannot fire him. Absolutely not, except for cause. So you can't fire him. Okay. All right. Such as misconduct or neglect of duties. Like, this is where I don't think you're going to be able, like Trump, I don't think can prove that Jerome Powell has been misconduct or neglect. I think obviously there's some people that believe there could be Jerome could be doing a better job. There's some people that believe he's done a great job compared to other countries, right? And so it really just figures out like where you are on the spectrum. But I think he's going to have a real hard time doing that. What's up? What's up, Doge? Charger? You have a Dodge Charger? Those are pretty fast, man. I miss the mainland. I miss the mainland a lot. It's good to see you though, man. Thank you for being here. So Joe says it's not about firing. They can make it hard for him to do his job, and that gets him fired and whatnot. But like, you know, is that the plan though? Like, is that what's best for the country? I don't think so. I think, you know, we're gonna pass. I had thoughts rushing to my head, but we're not gonna go there. We're just going to leave those thoughts over there next to the seal. The thoughts are back there. All right, we're not going to do that today. That was the Red Bull? Probably. That was probably the Red Bull, Dave. You're probably right. Powell always been known to be on the safe side. I have no problem. Yeah, I think, if you look at the numbers, right, C19 was difficult for everybody. Everybody, doesn't matter country, big or small, usually C19 affected you in some way, right? And most countries still are having trouble coming back from that, right? Like, I don't think China will fully ever recover from the way that they handled C19. And, the US was able to bring inflation down faster than a lot of our counterparties. Now, it might not have been fast enough for some people, but it still was very, very quickly done on the scale. I think people are just used to getting something now. Like, I want this done now, right? And I think that has that's kind of like the way humans have evolved over the last few decades in the internet and TikToks and shorts, and like, we just want it instantaneously, and it doesn't always work like that. Let's see here. Sensei, if I lived in Hawaii, I would have a sailboat. Listen, I always see sailboats on the water out here every day. And man, I think you'd have a lot of fun out here on the water. I really do. Yeah, let's not have another one of those. I mean, we are, not to put stress on anyone here, but there is multiple roads we are heading down. It's like the multiverse, right? We are in like a multiverse situation where any one decision, right, or one good idea or one bad idea could have a tremendous impact on the way everyday people live. And so, depending on if the decisions that are made are good, or if the decisions that are made are later looked at as bad, that could have a profound impact on the economy and inflation and all that stuff. I've seen some stuff. I've seen some reports and some data that suggests that inflation is going to be coming back, and it could be higher levels than what we experienced in the past. Now, that could be the worst case scenario, but it still is a scenario that we should be cautious about. It did get heated last time. I'm trying to stay away from it. Like, I've been actively trying to stay away from it. If you live in Hawaii, do the live streams on beaches. So, hold on. Don't mind that. You're not supposed to see that, but there you go. There's the ocean behind me there. That's the ocean. So it gets really bright when everything's open, So there you go. I guess we'll have the window open today. Dude, if XRP moons, like, I'll have to have like a nice beach house. I'll have like a beach house, and then I'll have like a nice guest house that people can like come in and like hang out. We'll hit up Waikiki. We'll do the whole thing. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's go. We'd have good crypto regulation. XRP would be number one, right? Like, man, could you imagine? You don't hate me. You love me, old school. Thank you for being here. Yeah, this kind of looks fake, doesn't it? Right? This looks a little fake, but it's real. What's the temperature? Let's see here. It's 3:00 in the afternoon here. Let's see here. Weather. It's 80. Look at the weather though. The 10-day is the best. Look at the 10-day. Hold on. Look at the 10-day. So you get like 72 on the low end, 81 to 82 on the high end every single day of the week. That's pretty much the weather here. Oh, it's gonna rain on Thursday. That's terrible. Oh, of course, the day I have to do a bunch of stuff, it's gonna rain. Coming to visit? Nice, Kate. Looking forward to it. We're gonna have everybody showing up. So, like, I want to know who's going to the event in Vegas. Like, who's gonna go? I wish I could be there. Like, I really am regretting not going. I had that surgery last month, and so my doctor was like, "This is probably not the best thing for you," but I am really regretting not going now because it sounds like you guys are gonna have a lot of fun. Let's see here. For better than is it New England, Ohio, or Northeast Ohio weather? Supposed to rain for 6 days straight. Wow, Christopher. That's tough, man. That's tough. Let me see if I could turn off some of these lights here. Hold on. I don't know if we need all the lights and we need this. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's too dark, huh? All right, we'll leave that back on. See the lighting? The lighting could do crazy shit. See? Ah! Lighting's different. Is your roof blue? I mean, the building's blue. The roof is not blue though. I don't know. I've never been all the way up. So what's your favorite local song? I don't spend a lot of time listening to radio. I think, I couldn't even name a song, bro. Like, to be honest with you. I don't know. I wish I was going to Vegas. Yeah, I kind of wish I was going to. It'd be so fun to just like meet people. Yeah, I'm in a condo. When we moved back to Hawaii, I used to live in Hawaii for 11 years. From 19 to 30, I lived in Hawaii, in Honolulu. And I had to move back to California in my early 30s. I needed surgery, and that led down a pretty rough path for me for about 6 to 7 years. It was really tough. And for like my health and all this stuff, we decided to move back. And it was just my wife and I, and we didn't need a big house or something like that, because I'll tell you, like, since I'm home all the time, I'm the one who like is doing the laundry, the dishes, all this, like picking up the house. So like I want this as easy to deal with as possible. Well, thank you for being here, guys. I really appreciate all of you. The view is nice. The original. The view is not, like, it's peaceful, because I spend all my day researching, making content, researching, trying to understand all of these complexities. I just think this is all really incredibly interesting. And I can look out at the water, and it's a very like calming mechanism, and we're most of us have to work our whole lives, and sometimes there's a few things that can happen during your day that makes it all worth it, and it's just one of those things. It is zen. Love that. Any news on midnight? No, Richard. No, we were talking about that earlier, Richard. The Glacier airdrop, the Cardano airdrop. I didn't see anything. Let me see if I can find anything up to date. Has there been any updates on the Glacier airdrop? I don't think there's been anything, but let's take a look. No. Oh, so this is saying there's been significant updates, but not on the updates that you want. Midnight is currently in testnet. The mainnet is going to launch at the end of 2025. Here are all the networks, right? Eligibility. The airdrop is specifically designed to exclude venture capitalists, which is good. But we're still waiting for all this information. Like, we're still kind of far away from this, I think. Working from home is fire. Yeah, working from home is fire. You're going to Hawaii in October, but going to Kona on the Big Island instead. Kona is really, really pretty. I mean, I mean, I'm sure you've been to the Big Island before, you know all about it, but like it has all, all of the world's, like rainforest, and like there's snow on the mountains, and it's kind of crazy, right? Let's see here. Dave says, Dave 589 says, I went to the proper party in New York. It was cool meeting people like Jeremy Hogan and hanging out with the Bag Man, XRP Bags. You know what's funny, man? I have Bags' songs on Spotify. So like I'll be in the car, my playlist will be on random, and like, hip hop, hip and up a hit. Like he comes on, and I like his songs, man. You can definitely, bob your head to them. It's pretty good beats. I want to fly to Hawaii, then jump on a small surplus plane flying to Midway Island. That's pretty cool, Joe. Is that like a dream of yours to do? Like, if you always wanted to do this, or is it just kind of coming up now that you're seeing the open ocean and the air, and you're like, yeah, let's go? Damn, Richard lives in the Hamptons. Fancy. Dang, all you guys, that sound like cool. Like I saw some pictures of the party. It looked pretty fun. That's the hard thing about being in Hawaii. It's so far away from California. It's even farther away from New York. Oh my goodness. All right. We're going 2 hours and 35 minutes here. Let's do this. Let's wrap this up. I'll give another maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes for questions. And I'll try to answer anything else that you guys have, and then we'll split up, and we'll be back on Friday. Yo, owe you a burrito. Thanks for the news. Anytime, man. 805 South Burrito, aka Mrs. Fusion Deli. Sounds like you can make probably a good burrito. I'm interested to know. Is this like a breakfast burrito, or is this like a Chile Verde burrito? I'm really interested to know now. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you, man. Oh, it's the 70s movie Midway. I got you, Crude Dog. So random, the next vote, they are going to set up the vote for the Genius Act in the Senate. It could happen as early as next week, but it is still kind of pending. They're trying to make sure that they have all the votes and the support before they try to punch it through. All right. Awesome. Let's see here. After holding 15,000 XRP in a locked account for 5 years, and the key factors may impact its value and utility over the next 5 years. Yeah, you're definitely going to have good impact on the price over the next 5 years. I think that's when a lot of the growth is going to happen. So you definitely should see value there. I at least that's what I'm planning value is going to be. What's the latest? Oh my goodness. We just did 2.5 hours, the latest. In today's chat, I answered maybe like an hour and a half of questions. We talked about Circle, Ripple, and Coinbase trying to buy Circle. We talked about Bitcoin news and updates. We talked about the Genius Act and all that stuff involved there. We talked about the bond market. We talked about the Japanese bond market. We talked about the Fed. We've talked about a little bit about inflation. We've talked about tariffs. We talked about everything, man. We have talked about everything. I appreciate you, Inigo Montoya. You're not missing anything. We got you. All right, guys. You know what? I think let's call it a day there. I think we've done as much as we can today. Thank you so much for your time. It is always an honor to spend this time with you. I will see you guys on Friday. Remember, I've always got good content coming out. If you want to learn, if you want to grow, it's just an honor to spend this time with you. So thank you for your support. I wish you all a truly fantastic day, and I will see you on Friday. All right. All right. Aloha, everyone. Bye. Oh, we got $10. Hold up. Can't leave yet. Sensei, love your content. Friends and family and neighbors support you. Mahalos, brother. Aloha, Kame. You're the best. Thank you, man. Aloha. I hope you're doing well. Let me know if I could do anything for you. I appreciate you. And Luna really appreciates you. So thank you guys so much. All right. All right, guys. Aloha. Bye.